What's up? All right, so I've been wanting to do this forever, but I don't because my personality doesn't allow me to just record. Um, and this morning I was talking to God and I said, please help me. Please help me figure this out because I've been wanting to do this for a really long time and I haven't been able to because, again, my doing it perfectly a way or another way prevents me from actually getting it done. So here I am. So what I'm going to try to do is just upload whenever I'm feeling excited, whenever I am feeling like doing it, but at least doing it once a week. And I am so excited. I'm so excited. So what I'm excited about is that ever since I was little, ever since I can remember, I have always been interested in people. I have always wanted to understand people. I always wanted to find the why behind the why, behind the why, behind the why. And also when I was little, and ever since I can remember, I always knew when people didn't like me. I could always tell. I could always tell when somebody just had like an adverse reaction to me. I could tell. And I remember asking my mom about it one time. I was like, do you think like when you were in middle school, I think especially more in middle school, it happened a lot more than it did in any other years. Middle school was the hardest for me. And she's like, no, not really. I don't remember that. But she's like, but I didn't have a lot of girl friends. Like I think she said I didn't, and I was like, okay, well, so the thing about me is that one of the things, so when I would ask other people, hey, did you feel like that? Did you feel like that? And then everybody basically would say no, So slowly what started happening is that I stopped believing my feelings. I started thinking that I was too much. I started thinking that I was too sensitive, that I was too naive. Sometimes I would think that. I would think like, oh, I just need to be tougher. I need to be a tougher person because the niceness in me basically just gets me in trouble sometimes. Or I just like think everybody is good or I trust too easily and I end up like in situations where I shouldn't be because I just need to be tougher. Like I would, and then that's the message too. That's the message that everybody tells you. You need to be tougher. Like if you want to make it in the real world, you need to be tough. Like you can't make it in the real world if you're nice, if you're too nice, because it's not just being nice, it's being too nice, it's being too sensitive. And so that has been my life since I was little, I started slowly not believing my feelings. I started slowly thinking if somebody hurt my feelings, then I would think, well, it's just because I'm too sensitive. Or I would make an excuse. Now, this is even more that I would do. I would make an excuse for them. I would say, well, they were busy. Or, I know they didn't mean to do that. Or I would just make all sorts of excuses for when my feelings were hurt and people didn't see me. They didn't see me how I wanted to be seen, or they hurt my feelings. And I would always make an excuse for them because all through my life, I believed that what I felt wasn't truthful. What I felt was too sensitive. What I felt was too much, that I was too much, right? And so it slowly deteriorates your, what would you say, intuition, right? And everybody, when I would go into these, I've always loved self-help. I've always loved it completely. But one of the things that I know with self-help is they always talk about your gut. They always talk about your intuition. I listened to Simon Sinek's Behind the Why, I think. I don't know, his TED Talk that's really popular. And then he talks about how great companies start with the why, for the why of their doing things, because then you get people to really feel the reason behind it. And but then he talked about gut. He said, sometimes when you present a business idea to a person, to a businessman, he says, you know, the numbers look right, but there's just something off. Like there, and then he talks about your gut. He's like, that's your intuition. That's what calls to you, you know? And I thought to myself, yes, exactly. And that's the reason. That is the main reason why it's so terrible when you are a person like me, that since you are little, everybody tells you your feelings are wrong because you're too sensitive, because you're too naive, because you're too nice. So you start not believing your intuition. You start double thinking, or you start not believing your gut, right? What makes somebody like a business person so wonderful and so a successful one at that, not like just any business person, but a successful business person, is that they, I think for me anyways, it's like they believe in what they're saying. They believe in what they're doing, right? Like an inspiring person. It's like you have your why as the central message. Like you can just feel it in your gut. You can feel it in your body, right? Not just in your head, but in your body. And whenever you're a person that's very sensitive and you grew up to be very, very sensitive, you start doubting that. And that is so terrible, you know? That is so terrible, because that is where that gut, that intuition is your superpower. That's your superpower. And it's horrible that throughout your life, people around you and society itself doesn't it's like doesn't know how to reach you, because everybody is maybe in the middle area of not intuition, but of feelings, right? Like, because you are so in the extreme that what you think or what you feel is not typical. You're not going to meet, you know, in a room of 100 people, there's going to be 5 that are like you. So it's less likely that you'll meet somebody that feels so much. And so I've had 3 boys since, you know, like in my life. I'm going to be 40 this year, 19 in August. And I've always been interested in understanding myself. Always wanted to understand myself more. And always questioned, you know, certain things. And so I have finally, with God, because he's in everything, and anything that exists is in, anything good is in him. I have finally, and I am so grateful, have found why I have been the way that I've been. And slowly I am not doubting my feelings. And it's so life-changing, but it's not easy. You know, it's so life-changing, but it doesn't make it easy. It's simple, but not easy. And I know that there is a lot of, and I'm not going to say like a ton of people, the majority of people are not going to be like this. They're not, because that's what made me question my intuition and my feelings for so long, because I don't think I ever met somebody like me when I was growing up. And so I am excited. I am so excited to share this message with you, and hopefully with the internet, I will be able to share what I learned and what I'm learning each and every day, so that it helps you too. And it hopefully, and this channel, these videos that I will be posting, I am going to be posting them. I'm not going to try to be a perfectionist. I'm not going to try to be, and what I mean by perfectionist is because again, doubt, right? Because the last time I uploaded a video on here was 8 years ago. And whenever I did my videos, I loved doing my videos. I loved it, but I hated editing. I hated that I had to put up the camera, fix the background, like all the setup of it. Oh my gosh, I hated it. And like a 5-minute video would take me hours to edit, hours. And it just wasn't sustainable for me. It wasn't sustainable. And, but I loved creating them. I loved talking to the camera and not having, but then I've come to a conclusion that I just have to record and upload. I can't look back at videos. I can't and then I always have to ask myself the reason why I'm doing the video, because it's easy to, one of the things after learning all of that I've learned, two of the questions that a question that I have to ask myself when I'm sharing something with you is this to help or is this to win? Because it's so easy to, once you know something and it resonates so much with you, sometimes it's easy to say something because you want to appear like you know better than other people. You want to appear like I'm better than you because I know this. And I hate that feeling that I have when I do that. And I'm not perfect. I'm human. We're all human and we're all imperfect, and that's what makes us all the same in the end. But that's a question that I'm going to have to keep asking myself every time I talk to you, because I don't want to become that person that just shares things because they want to win. Because what connects me to you and what has connected me to myself, and not for me to get lost in, let's say, the world, is that I have to ask myself that. So whenever I'm sharing something, I have to know the why behind the sharing and fight against that that perfectionism, fight against it, because it can be good, but it also has a bad part to it, a shadow to it, which is just not ever doing anything because you want everything to look and appear perfect. And I mean, whose life is perfect? Nobody's life is perfect. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. And I am so excited. Because it's been something that I've been wanting to do, and I pray every single day for God to please guide me and to please help me honor the gifts He gave me. Please help me honor them with my heart and not with my brain, like with my heart. And and I am so excited. I'm so excited to share this with you, because I know there's other people like me out there. I know. And this is the first video of hopefully many. I will see you soon. Bye.